Welcome everybody, week 11 of the budget build, the TRX4 Sport. If you're new to the series, this is what I do. I take $50 a week, spend it on the truck, whether it be an upgrade, a fix, or whatever needs to be done. Mainly it's been upgrades. Nothing's really broke on the truck yet. Been trying to break things, but nothing's broke just yet. Of course, I got rid of a lot of electronics before things broke, so. We're up to week 11. Sorry I missed last week. Halloween family activities ran a little long, so I didn't get to film anything last week. So, plus it gave me time for something to come in too that I wanted to do for this week. This week we're going to do two things. First thing we're going to do is the inner Fender Wells set from Traxxas. More on that in just a minute. I won't talk about that until I move around, and we're going to I've put 3 of them on. We're going to put the side on with the panhard because that's probably the hardest part for most people to put on. So we'll do that, and I'll show all the rest of it too. The other thing is I'm going to add the drive shafts, the ones I put on a few weeks ago to test out. I'm going to add them to the list because I'm going to keep them on here because they hold up very well, and I'll show you, the damage, not damage, but scratches and stuff. So I put them to use, which y'all saw the video. So they were used very well. We had $30 left over from the last week build, like week 10, with 50 this week, so that gives us 80 to spend. We didn't spend anywhere near that this week, so we'll be okay as far as that goes. I'm going to move the camera around so we can look at all this stuff, and I want to show you something about these Fender Wells that fit this particular truck, according to what everybody was saying. And I'll get to that in just a second as well. I'll be right back. All right, so we're back. So we're going to discuss the Traxxas Fender Well kit. Everybody was posting that the 8080 this is the part number from Traxxas that would fit the Sport. Well, I got news for you guys. It does not. It is an accessory for the TRX4 Sport. It is not for this truck. They all state it's an accessory for a TRX4. The Bronco one has a certain one for the Bronco, the Defender has one for the Defender, and so forth and so on. So far, they all say it's an accessory for the Sport. And the reason being is because of this right here. I'm going to show this right here. See, there's a gap. I can stick my finger in there. Guess what? That means it is not for this truck. The idea of it is for it to be up against the fender flare, beginning of the fender flare here, to keep as much dirt and stuff from going inside of the electronics area as you can, which granted it still fits well to the side skirt, and everything, or the slider, and I say side skirt, slider, it fits well to that. But as far as that right there, that means this is not quite exactly what needs to be on this truck. But on that note, it is very nice. I will say Traxxas's plastic has always been top notch anyway. I'm going to keep them on there for now until they make a different style for this particular truck. I'm not really a super fan of them because it does take place of the shock hoops themselves. You do have to take them off. It replaces them. Same goes for this one. It's going to have the panhard made into the flare, and I'm going to have trouble fitting mine right here because of the servo winch. And that's also another thing people need to worry about. If they have this particular setup, if they have a servo winch, it fits right here, and it will not fit that part right there. I'm either going to have to shave that down, which is pretty thick inside here, so it may wind up working out. I may be able to shave that down enough. My other thought was to space this over just a hair, bring it this way so it clears that just a little bit. But we'll get to that in just a second. So first thing you're going to have to do, so we'll go to the rear. So the thing with the rear, it's pretty simple. You've got your shock mount. You just take it out. You take the shock bolt out of here. You disconnect the bar. This goes down into here. Sits like that. You remove that. Put the new one in. You flip this brace around the other way. So instead of it facing forward, it's facing backwards, which is not really a big deal. It explains everything in there. You remove. This is one of the shock bolts, the shock hoop bolts, and this one is too. So you remove those two. You remove this one. Put it together. Put that one, swapped the long bolt to put it in here, put the short one back in this one here, because this one was just a brace, so it's just open. So just do that, and it's got marks on it. This one says LR on it, so it's left rear. So it's not hard to figure that part of it out there. So let's do this side here. So first off, which I did all the rest of them with a power tool, but you take it off this way here. No, that's not the one that needs to come out. I grabbed the wrong one. Thought it looked a little odd inset there. So you're going to remove the bolt that braces this brace to the shock coupe here. You will reuse that bolt. You actually reuse everything pretty much. This what makes you think this kit doesn't fit this truck is because it comes with this battery plate. This is the Bronco battery plate, because I think the Bronco is the one that comes with all that stuff there. So you undo the shock coupe, or you undo the shock from the shock coupe, sorry. Luckily mine's been drooped so much that it doesn't really make a difference when you remove the shock out of the system. It just drops it just a hair. All right, then you'll take, if you can, get in there and get the panhard mount, the screw out of it. It's probably going to be a little bit of a pain because it's not really made to just get out. All right, so that's loose. So you take the two screws that hold in the shock coupe to the frame rail. See if I can get that out without causing too much pain there. That one come out. Well, I'll tell you, power tools is the way to go. Very simple, very quick. All right, so that just removes. So you take that off, move that over to the pile of other stuff. So here's where we're going to have to test fit this here. I'm going to have to see how, yeah, see, that's going to touch. See, it is touching right here. So I'm going to have to, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. All right, so in order for it to fit, I wound up having to space the servo out. Let's see if I can get it in a shot here so you can see it. Put little bitty spacers, probably 3 or 4 mil spacers, nothing crazy, to get this to do right. And I wound up having to cut most of that. That's that spot that went directly into there. It will not fit. Even with it spaced out, it wouldn't fit. So I'm just kind of stuck on that one. All right, so the hardest part of putting this to this is the shock, is it fits in this little spot and it is tight. That's what she said. So I haven't really figured out a simple way to do this. I'm trying to do this without knocking the camera so I can get down and see. And the bad thing about it, there's only one hole. It's on this side, and you have to put it in to see, and the thing, it moves it. That's what it does. It turns it to where I can't see it go in there. Of course, they probably want you to remove said shock from the truck itself, but I mean, come on, man, ain't nobody. You shouldn't have to do that, but they probably make it. You do that, and then the link comes loose and the whole deal like that. So nobody want to do that. So let's do that. We'll see if I can get this in here enough to where we're good to go. Of course, I can't see it at all. It moves it every single time. Oh, that didn't work. I found that if you put it maybe on the shorter side of this rod end, that it may work better that way, but it doesn't seem to really matter, to be honest with you. And I can't do this showing y'all, so let me move it over here so I can see what I'm doing. probably the next hardest thing to do here. Put that out of the way. It's probably going to be the panhard. So I would do that first. And of course, it gives you a. It's going to be on the bottom. I would suggest this is, well, no, let's put them into the rails first, because it'll hold it to where you be able to, so it'll sit still. Because if it moves around a whole bunch, you're not going to be able to get the panhard bar in there right with it moving around. So probably a good idea to do that. Make sure those are tight. Come on. All right, so do that, lift up, grab the panhard bar, trying to get it in there. Ooh, that is tight, tight, tight there. So that's it there. So the next step is to put the last screw in that holds this brace to this flare or fender liner, whatever you want to call it. I call them, I guess they're Wheelwells. All right, and that's it on that. All right, so again, these don't work for this particular truck. They're designed, I'm assuming the Bronco, and I could be wrong on that, but probably that's what it's for, because it makes sense coming with the battery tray and the whole thing like that. So let's move to drive shafts, because like I said, I'm using these. I've got these and tested them. I wanted to test them for you guys and make sure they worked fine and all that stuff like that. So I used them. I had to cut this one to make it fit because it was a little bit too wide and it wouldn't fit in on the Sport. Did not thread lock the pins on purpose. I wanted to see if they would come loose. I wanted to see if I could possibly break the CVD part here and here. After I got done with the particular competition side of everything, I went and just tried to break these things, and I could not break them. So I guess that means they're worthy to have, I would assume. So I haven't sold any yet. I've got a few sets. They're $28 for the pair. And of course they are for the long wheelbase, but I mean, you can make them fit this truck. It's not a big deal to do. So I did not get to, let's check and see if these are loose or not. Nope, they're still pretty tight. Which of course it was one weekend, so that's not a whole lot of time really to see if they'll come loose. Yep, okay, so they're good. So not a bad deal for $28. They are metal. There is only one color. There's only this red that is on the parts that cover up the pin for the CVD is what I assume. So nothing to it, so that's it. And they bolt right on. You just take the old ones out and put the new ones in. Nothing to it on that. So there we have it. There's our Wheelwells and our drive shafts. So I'll be right back. All right, we're back. So tally up everything from this week. We had $80 left over from week 10, 80 bucks. There's $18 for these Wheelwells, fender liners, whatever you want to call them. They're off of the Traxxas site. You get them for 18 bucks. I mean, I think the other ones are like $16. So they're cheap. They're relatively not expensive at all. Spent $28 on the drive shafts. So we spent $46 this week. Out of the $80, we have $34 left to go over to next week. So we'll have some money for next week. I got to come up with something for next week. Don't really have any ideas yet. So give y'all some updates on a few things. I'm ramping up to get some trucks and stuff done for USTE, which is coming up in February, the end of February in Williston. I've got 4 different builds I'm going to have done. So I got to get on the ball. I ain't got very much time left. Ordered some stuff for the Proline truck. I guess I'm going to keep it. Nobody really wants to buy it, so I'm going to build it, put a big old powerful motor in it and stuff like that. Maybe somebody will want to buy it once it's built. Who knows? You never know. Going to finish the Tamiya Beetle. That's the 2 that y'all are going to know about. The other 2, I'm not saying anything about until it's time. News of the Boom Racing BRX01 scale pickup truck released the other day. I'll be getting my hands on one of those, I hope, soon, so we can show it off and talk about all the cool little deals and gadgets it's got on it. A lot of neat little things on it that's you have to really purchase another vehicle to kind of get those things. So it's a pretty cool deal for that to come out. A narrow axle, the scale body, the divorce transfer case, front motor mount that you can adjust the height. So it comes with metal drive shafts, the whole deal. So hopefully I'll get one soon and we'll be able to discuss it. I'll unbox it and we'll go over all the little pieces and build it and the whole thing like that. It'd be kind of fun. So stay tuned for that. Hope everybody had a good week, good 2 weeks. Thanksgiving's coming up. Black Friday's coming up. You know what that means. We'll have a sale. We are going to have a sale for Black Friday to get some stuff. Hopefully I have a few more things going on, get some more stuff in. So until next week, see y'all later. Bye.